Der Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz ist ja krachend gescheitert am Freitag im Bundestag und Friedrich Merz ist damit auch krachend gescheitert. Aber was it really a complete failure? I don't think it was. And I'm going to explain why right now in this episode of the Insanity Report. People, it is February 3rd. It's Monday, again, already. Monday, February 3rd, 2025. It is 3:05 p.m. here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today for Germany, where we're going to discuss what I think Friedrich Merz's ultimate plan is going to be, and why I think that for him, what happened last week with the Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz is not a failure. Not for him. It's a failure for the country. It's a failure for us. It's a failure for the other parties in Bundestag. At least it looks like it at first glance. But I think there is some political fuckery going on here, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Look, guys, if you guys are watching this on any other outlet except for Substack, then you're not getting all my videos or my articles that I write. The best place to get all my content in one place is Substack. So go to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. Go to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com and subscribe there. You can do it for free. You can do it for $5 a month. Either way, fine with me, just as long as you subscribe there in the end, because that way you get all the content I make. So let's talk about what I think Friedrich Merz's ultimate plan was, or is, and why I think that even though everybody else looks at this like a complete failure, I don't think Friedrich Merz looks at it as a complete failure at all. And I don't think that the SPD look at it as a complete failure, or the Green Party. I don't think they do, because I think what's going to happen is this. When Friedrich Merz came out with the idea to make the Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz because of Aschaffenburg, right, he really thought that he would be able to bully the Greens and the SPD to vote with him, because he would threaten them, if you don't vote for it, I'll go with the votes of the AfD. And I think that the Greens and the SPD just didn't do it, right? They didn't do what Friedrich Merz expected. And so they left him holding a bag he didn't want to hold. They left him having to accept the votes of the AfD. And then when it came time to actually make this thing a law, right, on Friday, members of his own party voted against it all of a sudden. Now that's weird, right? Did they just buckle under the pressure? Did they buckle under the pressure of the leftist and the Green Party and all the Antifa protests and all the leftist violence that's going to come out of this? Did they just cower because of that? Maybe. But either way, it plays out good for them, because here's what's probably going to happen. The chance that Friedrich Merz really does what's necessary for Germany, I hold for 0%. He's not going to do it, because what's really necessary for Germany is that he forms a coalition with the AfD if he gets elected with the CDU into parliament in February. Necessary would be he forms an AfD coalition and they start going at the problems that the Greens and the leftist morons don't want to go at. But he's not going to do that. I don't think he's going to do that. I think that he used this Aschaffenburg thing as a politics issue. He told everybody for the 100th time, es reicht, jetzt ist die Maß voll, and all that shit, right? And then he said, ich mach das Gesetz, egal wer mitgeht, whoever wants to vote with me can do it, blah, blah, big talk, big talk, right? But then when it comes time to actually put that into practice on Friday last week, members of the CDU party suddenly voted against what they previously voted for. How weird. What made them change their mind? What made Friedrich Merz suddenly lose control of his party? I think that Friedrich Merz now thinks, and he may be right? He may be right, that when it comes time to form a coalition, if he wins, but needs another party to form the coalition, he needs to get the percentages he needs to be the chancellor and have the CDU be in the leading party in Bundestag. What he needs is he's going to need one of the parties that nobody wants him to make a coalition with. He's going to need the SPD, he's going to need the Green Party, and maybe the FDP if they get even close, right? But the Greens and the leftists, nobody wants them to partner with them. But Merz is going to do that because he will not get a majority, just the CDU, CSU. That's not happening. And he will not form a coalition with the AFD. But he thinks, this is what I think he thinks, right? I'm not Friedrich Merz, remember that. But I think he thinks that, okay, if I can pressure the SPD and the Greens with power, then they will buckle, right? Then they'll buckle. So what he's trying to do now, what he's going to do now is he's going to go, okay, when it comes time to choose a coalition partner, I'm going to tell the SPD and the Green Party, either you sign this deal, yeah, the Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz, and then I'll partner with you, right? And if you don't, I will partner with the AFD. And he thinks that's going to make them buckle for this plan, this immigration plan of Merz's. And that's what I think he's going to do, right? I think he's going to extort the Green Party and the leftists, which is very smart, by the way. And we're going to see, is it more important for them to be in power and go back on their basic principles about allowing mass immigration into the country? Is it more important for them to be back in the Bundestag, back in the saddle, back in power? I think it probably is, right? I think it probably is. Now, the leftists and the Greens are unpredictable, though, because they do stand on their ideology. They do not see reality at all. So is it possible that they try to call Friedrich Merz's bluff and they say, fuck you, we're not signing that shit, and we dare you to partner with the AFD? They might do that. But I'm not so sure, because, you know, the leftists here in Germany are like of a weaker quality, you know, than, like, for example, the Democrats in America, the left there. They're a little weaker, right? I think that power is most important to them. Keeping their 11,000 euro salaries is more important to them. So Friedrich Merz, well, the CDU is going to win, right, in the election, right? And then Friedrich Merz is going to put the gun to the head of the leftists and the Greens and say, okay, you're going to have to go with my plan, right? You're going to have to sign it, or I'm going to make a coalition with the AFD and fuck you all. That he could do, right? But the forming a coalition with the AFD part, that's a bluff. And I think that the leftists and the Greens will know it, and they'll call his bluff. And then Friedrich Merz is going to be completely fucked, because then he threw away his chance at the chancellorship, and he threw away the longevity of his party, because he will be screwed. Or he will partner with the AFD and do the right thing and save his political career and the CDU and the country. But so far, you know, the tea leaves have not been reading that Friedrich Merz or the CDU has any interest in doing what's best for the country if it involves a partnership with the AFD. Now, what's the risk here for Merz? Merz is risking that if he tries to, because they can't make laws if they're not in office, right? So Friedrich Merz is going to have to make them go, okay, they're going to have to make them promise that they will go along with this Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz before they're in power, which the left and the Greens, I do not put it past them at all to say, sure, we'll sign it. But then once they're in power, they'll come up with some excuse and some reason not to, and then the coalition's already been made. And then what? You know what I'm saying? Then are they going to, is somebody going to have the balls to say, nope, fuck it, then I'm pulling out, the coalition breaks right away, right off the bat? I don't think so. I think that the left is going to end up conning Merz into choosing one of their parties, the Greens or the SPD, basically the same shit. Yeah. In order to form a coalition, they're going to make a promise that Merz thinks he's got the upper hand on. And then once they're in, they're not going to sign this deal for Merz, right? And it doesn't matter to Merz anyway, because Merz knows This is what I talked about in last week's video, right? Merz doesn't matter for Merz anyway, because he is not planning on actually pulling through on this Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz. If he was not. He's not. He knows he's not. Because in order to make that, to execute those laws, he would have to go against the European Union rights, or the European Union laws, sorry. They don't give any rights, they only make restrictions. So the EU restrictions, he would go piss off neighboring countries, he would force the other countries to also act, and he would get mega hate from the left and the cocktail parties and the media and the club that he's now a part of. Merz and the CDU is part of the establishment club, and they don't want to leave the establishment club. They don't want to be kicked out, right? So Merz, this has all of it's been absolute political theater to make the voters think, oh my God, this dude suddenly has the balls to take a fucking stand. Aschaffenburg really was Maß ist voll, es reicht. Man, he's doing it. He's actually threatening to go with the AfD. Oh my God, he's breaking ranks. It's taboo bruch and blah, blah. Everybody's like all excited. They're like, oh my God, he's the king, man. He's the man. Friedrich Merz is the shit. Right? That's what he was hoping to get out of this. Right? And he might have gained some votes because of doing this. But he was never planning on actually following through on this law, whether it gets made law or not, because there will be too much pressure against him to do it. And like I said in the video on Friday, Alice Weidel and the AfD are the only politicians that have the backbone and the balls to go against the EU laws, to put the other countries in their place, and to withstand the heat and the hate from the left and the Green Party. The CDU is not going to do that. So actually, Friedrich Merz doesn't care if the left goes along with this or not, right? He just wants to make the people think he cares, and he wants to make the people think that he was able to pressure the Green Party and the leftists, the SPD, to do the right thing and go with this law in order to be in power, right? He wants to make them look bad and him look good, and I think it's going to backfire massively in his face and leave him holding the fucking bag, because I think the SPD and the Green Party will promise him all kinds of shit, but in the end, once they're in power, they're not going to go for this Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz. God damn, some of these words are difficult, y'all. They're not going to go for it. So, is there a possibility that will then piss off Merz so badly if they say no up front? Which they're not going to do. They're not going to say no. They're going to say yeah. They're going to say sure. It's going to be backroom talks. Nobody's going to really know. You know? And then Merz is going to get to go up there and go, okay, we found a regierung. We found a regierung without AfD, guys, because I convinced the SPD and the Green Party to go ahead and vote for my Zuströmungsbegrenzungsgesetz. And they're going to do it. They've seen the light to follow the CDU's wisdom, people. And that's the coalition. That's what we're going to do. Then he's got the best of all worlds. No AfD. His political career is still there. He's still there in office for 4 more years. The left is happy again. The Greens are happy again because they also get pulled into office. Come on, guys. We know you guys didn't get any votes for this, but we're going to let you in, and we're going to let you do we're going to let you in and do the governing. And we're going to just ignore the AfD because that's what we do, right? And he's still part of the club. He's still part of the good people club, right? He still gets his salary. Friedrich Merz is the winner in all of this. And then he's going to understand that the left and the Green Party were just lying about signing anything into law. And it's not going to matter to him in the end anyway, because he's like, yeah, I wasn't going to be able to pull through on that law anyway. So fuck it. Back to the order of the day. He's hoping that the talks to form the coalition will take long enough that this last week in German Bundestag has been completely forgotten by the German public, which it probably will be for a lot of these normies out there, I'm sorry to say, unfortunately. But that's, I think, the plan. I think that's where they're going with this. I think that's where they're going with this. Friedrich Merz will pressure the SPD and the Greens to sign on this law. They're going to agree so they can have power. Then when they get power, they're going to just go back on their agreement. You know what I mean? And Friedrich Merz is going to be left holding the bag, but he's not going to care because he wasn't really so gung-ho about executing this law anyway because he knows the fights he will get on his hands that he's not willing to fight. And I think that's the whole plan. I don't know if that was the plan from the beginning, but I think that's the plan now. So watch out for that. I wouldn't trust the CDU, nor the leftists or the Greens, as far as I can throw those motherfuckers. They are horrible, horrible hypocrites and liars. You know, politicians everywhere are, I know, but these people are utterly disgusting. Really, they are. They really think they're better than everybody else, these establishment politicians in this country. They really think that they're much, much more, and they know exactly what to do. They know exactly what to do about everything. And the people are too stupid to make their own decision, guys. It's all misinformation that's infecting these people's brains that like the AFD, guys. You know, they keep telling each other the same shit. They keep jerking each other off. It's totally gross. It's like an incest pool. And the AFD is the only party that disconnects from this incestuous establishment pool of utter criminal, utter corrupt, hypocritical group of people that are running the show at the moment. And they're just basically playing poker. You know what I mean? They're basically just playing poker. And it might work out for them for 4 years if this all gets through. You know what I mean? But after that, I think they're probably going to be just fucked. You know, I think actually that they'll form a coalition to form a government that will never be able to function. And I think that's where they're going to lose. I think the next coalition will also break early. And then there's going to be early voting. And then it's going to be the AFD all the way. So let them play their games. It's fun to watch. You know what I mean? It's also fun to try to analyze what the fuck they're doing. Like, are these people crazy? But they're not. It's poker. It's like high stakes poker. That's what the 4D chess kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's what Friedrich Merz is trying to do. And that's what the Greens are trying to do as well. Right? That's what the SPD is trying to do as well. They are thinking the same thing as Merz. They're thinking the same thing as I just said. They're like, oh my God, he's going to come and pressure us and threaten us with a coalition with the AFD. And we're going to say, sure. If that's all we need to do is promise we're going to sign that thing, we'll promise. And then we're going to be in government. And then he's going to be too pussy to break the coalition because he's the chancellor. So that's going to be the end of that shit. Mark my words, people. That's where I think this is going if nothing else crazy happens. Now, if there's another child murder by some Islamist that's not supposed to be in the country, things can, of course, change very quickly and turn themselves against Friedrich Merz and the whole leftist idiots. But short of that, that might be the way this is going to play out. So we'll check it out, guys. Check it out. Let's see if I'm right. I wonder. I think I probably am. We'll find out. Have a great evening. Have a great afternoon whenever you're watching this. We will see you guys tomorrow on the next Insanity Report when I'm sure... I can tell you right now. As a matter of fact, I've got something cool to tell you all tomorrow. It looks like certain good guy establishment German politicians may be considering getting back on Russian gas. I wonder why that could be. Well, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow in tomorrow's Insanity Report. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, all that. Peace out, guys.